exclusive to Classic FM 97.3.
Which other music? Sorry,
This is The Discourse with JIMI DISU.
You're welcome to The Discourse with JIMI DISU on this hot day. It's a very hot day. Right, first my apologies to Aisha Kikugwe. You know, she was supposed to have been here. We said we were going to talk about bleaching, but I read a piece in the Vanguard and put it on my blog sometime last week or so, and then it occurred to me that I should bring the gentleman who wrote the story. The piece was called, sorry, I'm scrolling down the piece again. It was called Good Luck Jonathan, a President in Need of Help, an Encounter Inside Aso Rock. It was written by Jide Ajani, who happens to be the editor of the Sunday Vanguard. Okay, so I then decided that, because it's quite topical, I'll delay the bleaching thing till next week. So I put a call through to Aisha, and she had no choice because she's my she doesn't want to be thrown out of the house. So that, but before I talked to Jide. He needs to catch his breath. Let's talk about last week. What happened during the week? Oh yes, during the week, we lost Alaja Gbadamosi. Alaja Gbadamosi used to be director of NYSC and was also principal of I think Ahmadiyya College, the girls' school. She's top education. She's from the Animation family. So we express our condolence to them. I think they're going to have the 8th day prayers on Tuesday at some place in the Lupeju, I think Darlington Hall or something like that in the Lupeju, sometime about 12 noon or thereabout. I'm sure the family will bring out the notice. Also, condolences go to Sam Amuka, who lost his mom yesterday. Uncle Sam, her soul, rest in peace. Sam Amuka ironically is the proprietor of the Guardian, and I call him my second father. So we'll be headed to Delta State anytime from now. Okay, so that's then of course we had this barrage of interviews in the media by Lucky Benedion, who said that there was no money in Edo State to steal, but he ended up being convicted still. That's so you could check out for that story. Then my good friend OGD, I heard he says he's left the PDP to become a member of the Labour Party, but that he's still going to work for the Jonathan presidency project. Through him now, we know that Jonathan is definitely going to run because he's going to do that. How he's going to be in the Labour Party, I wonder if Labour Party has a candidate, what will happen? Or whether that means that what we've always thought, that Labour Party is probably a parastatal of the PDP. The politicians know they have their own way of sorting things out. Then we got the shocker on Thursday. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday. I had an invitation, but unfortunately I couldn't go. A gentleman called Mr. Ambode, he launched a book. And then the Hub of Lagos, during his speech, said that categorically that Ambode was the anointed governor by the elders, and that more or less saying that he wasn't going to entertain any other candidates. And of course, since then we've had a lot of reactions to that. A lot of us consider that statement unfortunate. The wiser ones, Tinubu and Fashola, they didn't even attend the book launch, sent representatives, because they knew that they'd be given a wrong signal. And one of the things that bothers me is how could the elders, have decided that their own choice was going to be Ambode when they hadn't even seen all the choices. He's about the only person, I think, Okeleke Pito too, has thrown his hat in the ring. And I would have thought that even if the elders were going to have their own candidate, that at least wait to be sure, to know who is running and who is not. And I'm sorry, Kabi, election is not run by elders; it's run by the will of the people. These are modern times, and if anything, I think Mr. Ambode himself needs to come and make a categorical statement, or else, if he's not careful, it could turn against him. A lot of the younger people were completely angry. I got loads and loads of mails saying that the elders can't just sit down and decide who is going to be the next governor. That is more of their choice than anything. I also think the AC have to be a bit careful. BRF Fashola earned his respect. You know, he earned his respect. And ironically, even when he was going to come for a second term, he ran that campaign as if he was an unknown person. So the idea, I think the APC, they shouldn't just take, they shouldn't take people for granted and think it's a done deal. You know, I remember in the days of AD, there was this saying that if the AD presented a dog, people would vote for him. People are more discerning now, and the environment is much more sophisticated. So let's have a healthy competition. Let's see who is still coming out. Ironically, I don't know Mr. Bode. I've never even heard of him, because I know he was probably some quiet accountant general doing his job, in the secretariat. So the field is still open, and obviously the field is open. The field is open, and I think we need to give those who want to aspire. We need to give. For all you know, I might be interested. I'm a Lagosian. I think I have the correct age and experience. I might just be interested. Unfortunately, I don't know which party to hire. Okay, so the politicians will sort all that out. Now, Jide, how are you? How are you today?
Yeah, fine.
Yes, this Jide Ajani, like I said, is the editor of the Sunday Vanguard. That's right. Now, you wrote this piece called "Good Luck, Jonathan: A President in Need of Help."
Yes, I did.
Why do you think that he's in need of help?
Well, I'll say good afternoon first to your listeners and our listeners. I'd wanted to write a piece like that before.
Okay.
Even before I met him.
Yeah.
Because as an observer,
yeah,
you notice certain things within the polity that are not going the way they should.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you tell yourself, how can I be useful to my country?
Yes, okay.
So when the opportunity came for me to meet him, and I'd met him before, 3 times earlier, like I wrote in the report.
You met him where before?
Yeah, twice in the government house by Elsa when he was deputy.
When he was governor?
Deputy governor.
Deputy governor.
And I met him once again when he just became governor.
Did you have a relationship with him then? I mean, beyond that?
No, it was just official. It was a passing thing. Just a passing thing.
It was a passing thing?
Yeah, just a passing thing.
What did you think of him then?
Yeah, the first two times, it was a deputy governor.
So there was really
in the
nothing
company of his boss then.
Okay.
In Yenagua. So when I met him the third time, he has just become governor of Bayelsa State.
Okay.
So you could assume that he was just learning the ropes of.
Did you see any change in his mien as when he was deputy governor and then when he was now governor?
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Okay.
Even when I met him again on Sunday for the media chat. Yes, you have to understand the person of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, our president. He comes across as just a gentleman, and that is the truth.
What do you mean that he comes across? Does it come across, or do you think he's a gentleman?
What I think may not relate in terms of the percentage to what this person is all about. It's what you see. It's from what you see that you can then make your own assumptions about any individual.
Yeah, but what are your assumptions?
Yeah, you see him, you believe you've seen a gentleman who, you won't use the word naive, because that could be misconstrued to mean something else entirely.
Exactly.
But when you meet him, you meet somebody just green, somebody natural, just a free individual, if you understand what I mean.
Okay, let me first of all start from something, let's even talk about this media chat and we'll move along.
Okay.
Well, were you invited for this media chat?
Yeah, sure, I was
How
invited.
was the invitation? Was it a formal letter or a telephone call?
It was a call.
A call?
Yeah, there was actually an earlier meeting on Friday.
Okay.
With some colleagues.
Okay.
That was supposed to be a dinner, and it was supposed to be an interactive session.
Which took place anyway?
Yeah, it took place, yes.
Okay.
Then I was now invited on Saturday.
Were you invited in person or in title? Was the letter addressed to the editor of the Vanguard, or was it like you were invited as Jide Ajani?
No. The platform makes the man. I was invited as editor Sunday Vanguard.
Okay,
my name is Jide
Ajani.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be okay.
No, that's how it works. That's how it works.
I've never been to those things, so.
No, it's a platform. The platform makes the man.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay. So when you were invited, so the invitation came. Do they send you tickets or do they send a plane to pick you up?
No.
You find your way there.
Yeah, sure.
But they house you.
Yeah, they did that.
In
the typical African thing, hospitality. Those things are they take you. They are given. Yeah.
Do they monetize it, or they just the hotel is booked and then you?
No. They don't monetize. No, they don't monetize because there was a problem with the issue of Jeff Koinange, the CNN guy who said he was leaving the villa and some people tried to pass some money to him. That was during Obasanjo's time, and it created some sort of row, and I'm sure they too they are the wiser.
So, but they refund your ticket money though.
That's what I mean when I said the hospitality part of it, which is they take care of all those ones for you. So when you now said if they sent a plane, no, you budget a plane and they take care.
But do they also give you some cash? I mean, like to take care of your like honorarium?
No.
Nothing like that.
No.
Okay.
Now
in your sorry, I'm doing this
as far as
because we on the outside, it's good for us to clear the air on certain things that have been going on.
It's very necessary.
Now, was there when you arrived a day before? Is that right, or you arrived the same day?
I arrived that same day because I had to produce my paper for Sunday.
Okay, but that was by your own decision.
Yeah, sure. If it was possible, I would have been there a day before. But I got there Sunday morning.
Do you think that your colleagues had been briefed the day before?
No, I don't think so. The colleagues on the panel?
Yeah, on the panel, yes.
No, nobody was briefed. And that was, like I said in the report, that was quite revealing.
Yeah, because
when we were picked from the hotel, 3 of us,
yes, we
got to the villa. You pass through the normal security checks.
They check for your phones. Did they like frisk you? Make sure you don't have anything.
No, once you pass through that security,
he gives his hands.
So you drop your phones. So when we got to the office of the special advisor on media, Dr. Ruben Abati, he wasn't in. So it was Cyril Stoba of NTA, Madam Funke Faduba, and the other guy from BBC, Nabashi or something. So we decided on how to ensure that there's a rhythm.
Oh, the 4 of you?
Yeah. No, and I wrote in the, nobody came to tell us, you asked
it wasn't contrived. No. That's it's interesting to know.
That's why I said it's revealing, because I had expected that we would have a
whatever that gentleman
session,
this or that
don't do this. Although we had sent in our questions.
Earlier,
yes.
Were you allowed follow-up questions, or you were told stick to your questions?
While the interview was on?
No. Were you briefed that?
No, there was no briefing of any sort.
Okay.
From anybody, and that's the truth.
That's the truth.
It was Cyril Stoba, Faduba, the BBC guy, and I.
But a lot of critics do think that you guys were kind of very, very soft on him, that you didn't ask him some tough questions. That's the feeling a lot of our listeners had that emailed me.
Yeah, when you have a people who are so disappointed in the leadership of their country,
yes,
they would go to any length to express their frustrations. So if people even say we were told not to say this or we were gagged, I was surprised if you had said nobody had mentioned that the guns were put to our heads.
You appreciate that?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Do you think that you gentlemen who are carrying that, do you think that you are overwhelmed by the aura of the place?
No, for me, the first thoughts were maybe there will be a pre-chat session where all these things we talked about.
Okay.
So I was a bit overwhelmed. But it lasted just some 5, 7, 8 minutes. Okay. After which, all that fizzled away, and because I knew I had a job to do.
Yes.
And I knew I was carrying the weight of my medium.
Yes.
On my shoulders. And I knew my friends, family members would also be watching.
Now you said here that when the president came in, he came in with aides and he came in with friends. What do you think friends were doing at that kind of function?
Honestly, I mean,
Did that look odd to you?
No, it didn't look odd to me. It didn't look odd to me.
I mean, definitely, you thought it was okay for
this. It was not a state function.
How do you know they were his friends anyway?
No,
they could have been officials.
No, at least I know a few of them whose names I wouldn't want to mention.
Why? I mean,
some things are better kept confidential because.
But were you surprised to see those people?
No, I wasn't really surprised because this wasn't a formal state function. So
yeah, no, but also it's a business function.
But then you cannot hold the president down not to have friends around him. It's
a matter of choice.
I mean, when the Kennedys were in the White House,
you will have your friends around you, but when you're going for this is an official function.
It was.
You're going to have immediate chat.
Everything was in the villa. It wasn't as if we went to one studio somewhere.
Oh, the studio is inside the villa?
Not a studio, it was just like a makeshift station for...
In his sitting room?
No, not even the residential part. It was like one of the chambers.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't really that he moved from the villa to, and then his friends now trooped and followed him.
But you say here, he said, sensing that this writer was already sweating, the president dropped the hint about government's plan to build a standard studio. Why were you sweating? Were you scared?
No.
No, it was hot, I know.
It was. I thought naively too that this was Aso Rock. And we were going to be doing the recording there.
They would have
the proper air conditioning would have been.
Yes.
And if it was so much of the lighting, that would have been different. But it just started like that. I was, why did I wear this cravat? Maybe I would have just, because I thought.
So you were very uncomfortable.
But I prepared. I had my handkerchief.
You're lucky I don't carry handkerchief because I lose them easily. So the president too must have been sweating.
No, it depends on your body.
But what does that tell you if the place where you... Because I look at the curtains and I see that it's the same curtains, the same place they've been using right from Obasanjo's time. It's still the same curtains, except we have the same curtains in everywhere in the rock. What would have been... Weren't you a bit disappointed that the place wasn't like well chilled and whatever for you to... You understand what I'm saying? Knowing that you're going to have lights and so on.
No, it wasn't as if it was not well chilled.
Oh, you were the one who was sweating.
I was the one who was sweating. However, that was a function of the prevailing air conditioning system.
Okay. Now, so we... Oh my God, time. We have to take a break. Okay, we'll take a break. You're not sweating here. Tell everybody that you're comfortable here.
I'm relatively comfortable
here. You're relatively comfortable here. Okay. You can be part of this program by calling in 0909 2172973 or 07087 656 030. You can tweet at Classic FM 973 or you can send in an SMS at 33973. We'll take a short break. And what would you like to listen to?
Ebenezer Obey.
Ebenezer Obey. Lawrence, why do I keep calling you Sly? You don't look anywhere near him. We have an Ebenezer Obey for him. Okay, all right. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue, with this very interesting and revealing session. Now, Jide, of course, we're talking about. He wrote a piece for those who are just coming in. He wrote a piece called "Goodluck Jonathan, a President in Need of Help," and he's talking about his encounter in Aso Rock. He was one of those member of the panel who interviewed the president. Now, in the course of the interview, by the time you finished when you got started, what was the president's mien? What did you see? Were you talking to a very confident person? Did you come across to you as somebody very confident?
Yeah, confidence could be split into two folds.
Okay.
I mean, you could have somebody who feels he's confident, but when you look at him, he's not confident. You could have somebody who is trying to make up an air of confidence, and in reality, he's not. But when you see somebody who's really very, very confident, and this guy is confident. So in the beginning, honestly, because I didn't ask the first question.
Okay.
So from his response, I was trying to get a feel of, this might even be tougher than when I thought, because from the way he started, I felt a bit impressed, honestly.
Okay.
I felt a bit impressed from the way he started off.
Why did you say from the way he started then? Consequently, what then? What was your opinion consequently? Because if you say from the way he started...
When I asked my own question about the issue of lack of capacity, which we dealt with, and it relates to... Because there's one thing to desire to do something.
Yes.
There's another thing to have the capacity to deliver on what you desire to do. Once there's a mismatch, you won't go anywhere.
You won't go anywhere, yes.
And like somebody once said, if you want to get something done, then you have to stop dreaming. Because you can dream of ideas, and if you are still sleeping, you have to wake up. Because if you don't wake up, you can't get, it's a saying from somewhere. So when I asked the question I asked him...
What was the question you asked him?
And the question was that, look, to get the militants in the South to surrender, some leaders of the South had to take enormous risks to go into the creeks and meet the boys. But in the case of the Boko Haram insurgents, even before now, to what extent did the federal government engage leaders in the Northeast to really go to the den of these boys and talk to them? And the response I got was not the direct answer to the question I asked. And that got me thinking, sincerely.
When you said the response you got, did you think that he hadn't done anything, or he didn't know what to do? Or what was the kind of response?
No, at some point he started defending. He sounded even more defensive of the leadership in the Northeast, and was saying that there's a difference between militancy and terrorism. And before, if we go back in time, how did Boko Haram become what it became now, that Al Qaeda and Al Shabaab have actually taken over?
Yes.
We had written in Sunday Vanguard. If you check in the last 2 years, Sunday Vanguard would have done the largest number of stories about Boko Haram, and even the Vanguard group. And so we've been following what had been going on. So that question was asked from a particular background, and there was an expectation of what the president was supposed to give out in terms of response. Because if you look back, after killing Mohammed Yusuf, these guys were screaming and they were shouting, "Who killed our leader? Bring them to justice." And everybody just behaved as if nothing had happened. And not as if the guy was killed during a gun duel. He was arrested by the military, handed over to the police, and in custody.
Let me read a quotation from your whatever here. You say that it was this sentiment that President Jonathan re-echoed on national television, from the gesticulation of hopelessness that he displayed regarding the insecurity in the country. What was clear was a challenge of capacity.
Yeah.
Is it capacity as a government or capacity of the person?
You can't divorce the
person.
No. Let me.
Go on.
If you head an institution,
yes,
it's your subordinates will draw down.
Yeah.
From your inspirations from you.
Yes. Okay.
So it's you can't divorce. If a government is not doing well, then it relates to leadership of that government. So and you are the head of that government, you hold the person accountable.
Also, from what you have seen, you definitely think that this government is not doing well.
Regarding this specific, it's. I mean, that's the opinion out there.
Okay, we have a caller now. Yeah. Good afternoon, the Discourse.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Please speak up a little bit. Who's calling, please?
My name is Anslem.
Anslem, good afternoon, Anslem. What's your quick reaction, please, or question?
Yeah, I read this review as it were, and I must commend this year's tenure on what is the Ajani. And I want to add that we captured the fear of us about what the president is going through in New Zealand and then the government.
Okay, thank you.
Some of his friends and it's that we want to know the actual things that are happening out there. I think you really actually. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anselm. Now, Jide, would you like to react to that? I mean, people are... well, not people, that's wrong. Let me say that. He is talking about... I think we have another caller. Okay, so we'll just take two questions together. Hello, good afternoon, the Discourse.
Good afternoon, JIMI DISU and the guests over there.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, can we have your reaction very quickly? We are running out of time.
You are person as in calling from Sango in Ogun State.
As far as that, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. And what I want to say is that it is not clear to everybody in the country that leadership of the northern region, their business, the business elites, education elites, and the political elites, the Sultan of Sokoto, the Demand, Nursery Islam in Kaduna, they were all behind group of Vanguard. And that was why, for over 2 years, they were unable to say anything.
No, I don't think, excuse me, even if you call in, you can give an opinion, but you cannot state the fact without proof. Excuse me, sir. Sir. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. I'm sorry. You can't make a categorical statement without. So you have to withdraw that statement, or I'll cut you off. You have to withdraw that first statement.
No, I will withdraw it on your command.
It's not on my command, because there are ethics that follow these things.
I withdraw it.
Okay, fine. Now you can then go on very quickly and make your comment.
Okay, my comment is that the president has seen in the last 2 years that he has no friends, solid friends from the north.
Yes.
And as you said, there are friends there, But the friends in the Aso did not advise him to fraternize with the Westerners, the Western region that is as large as the entire South and Southeast and more than the part of the Midwest. Why is it that you people are unable to tell him that say you know that you don't have support from there in the north? Why can't you befriend the Westerners? Because
it should not have friends from the north and then befriend the Westerners.
Yeah, the Western region.
Okay, we are not actually. Sorry, sir. We are not talking politics here. We are talking real
I'm not talking of
issues.
politics. This is a problem that has to be solved by the Nigerians. The Northerners created the problem. The Westerners they are keeping it low. Does it think that the South can solve the problem? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Westerners, it will have helped it further better than what we're having in this country.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. So thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, you heard that. I think that's slightly off tangent about what we are talking about. You know, one has to be careful when people make categorical statements that somebody is behind. That's a very, you know, it's not a thing that one would want to encourage without proof. So you probably don't want to react to that. Let's just go very quickly because we're running terribly out of time. You say here that during the interview, you say on the question of corruption and the NNPC, the president missed some points. He did not seem to attempt to define corruption and its relationship with stealing. He did not also need to drag the legislature into it. Now, can you explain what your thinking is on that?
Yeah, the question was direct. It was about the Minister of Petroleum Resources, and the response ought to have been tailored to fit the question that was asked.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the president, with due respect to him, just went on a voyage. And if it's seen some tweets and some images lately about trying to say just something that is stealing, they call it corruption. You didn't have to start creating those dichotomies.
There was one where he said that when people can make some mistakes.
Yes.
I had slept off and I woke up to the other one.
No, he did say, he said that.
Did you find that interview interesting, by the way?
I found it interesting because I was part of it.
I like that answer. So you don't blame me for having slept off in between?
No, I was part of it, so I found it interesting. And it was in the villa anyway.
It was in the villa. Okay. And then we now go, because we have a lot to go, on the issue of governance and politics. President Jonathan said he wasn't ready to declare whether he would seek re-election or not. Now, this is my own take. If a man knows that he wants to rule his country and he wants to be sworn in by May 2015, surely a year to that time, he should have been able to make up his mind. What kind of sense did you get from that?
Nigeria is a country of quick fixes. We just want to, we wait for the last minute and then rush in. Yes. I had expected that he would not declare because it would have been inappropriate, sincerely. This was a time when we had some girls that had been adopted, and then the question comes, would you run or would you? I mean, at least you give it to him.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to answer there.
You can't, if he had, there was no way he would have. There was no way he would have
answered that
first. Yeah.
But surely it's about time that he makes up his mind whether he wants to run or not, don't you think?
But it took Obasanjo almost 8 months after he had made up his mind he wanted to run, and they kept postponing the announcement.
But that doesn't make it right. I believe that Nigerians, Nigerian politicians need to show a lot of seriousness and purposefulness. If I were going to run, for example, I'd come out boldly. Isaiah. He has come out to say boldly, I want to run, I want to fix this country. We need a hungry person like that. You understand what I'm saying? We need somebody hungry, somebody that has an urge. Did you see any hunger? Well, calm down. Did you see any hunger in the president? Somebody who is hungry to lead, somebody who has a strong desire in him to lead the country. Because you said, what you said earlier on was that you said he was a nice gentleman and soft and so on and so forth. So what's your take?
When you talk about hunger, if you are hungry for something, it doesn't detract from the fact of your capabilities or your capacity. Now, anybody can be hungry for it.
So what are you okay, do you think he's capable? Let me ask you point blank. Do you think he's a capable president?
To lead Nigeria?
Yes.
Anybody can lead Nigeria.
No. That doesn't answer my question.
Look, the truth.
I know. Listen. Calm down. Luckily, we are both journalists, and luckily we both worked in the same place. We were trained by the same person.
And we learned from the master.
You learned from the master. Do you think he is a capable leader by your own measurements?
Sincerely now, he can be a capable leader.
He can be?
Yeah, he can be.
But is he?
Now,
yes.
If you judge based on some things we have seen so far, I think there's a challenge of capacity.
Capacity, yes.
That's just the way to put it.
There's nothing wrong. Everybody has challenges, though. You know, there's nothing wrong in us saying if there's a challenge, we say there's a challenge.
Yeah, of course.
Part of the problem we have is this African attitude where it is believed that you shouldn't say not just ill about the dead, but also ill about the living. But the world has gone beyond that. We in order not to embarrass one person, we can't put the lives of 160-something million people at stake. So if we feel that there are capacity issues, I'm one of those who believe that yes, we could point it out and say, look, it's so that he can get better.
Let me tell you why I said he can be a capable leader. The national conference that is going on now did not just start overnight. And I'll be honest with you, he had been working assiduously since very early last year.
Really?
Yes, sincerely. And we had done, I had some privileged...
When say we, who are we?
That's Vanguard.
Oh,
I had some privileged access to some papers regarding preparations for the conference that is on now.
He didn't just put it out of the house.
He didn't. So when people now started saying, oh, it was, yes, likely because of pressure, but he had been doing his own private thinking with some leaders too.
But why did it take him so long and it's too close to an election? Doesn't that bother you?
It doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, sincerely, if the product of that conference, we can get Nigeria to be sufficiently mobilized to get the National Assembly to find a way to work it into the amendment process that is still on, with a view to ensuring that we have a better country for all of us, then I don't think time will be...
no, it's not. I'm talking about timing.
Yeah, I don't think timing, if it's for the ultimate good of the country, I don't think timing should be... We've been having elections in this republic for how many times now?
You also talk here, you said on the need to curtail the excesses of petroleum products marketers who are selling beyond the official rate. The President Jonathan sounded very distant. Okay, but if he said he first embarked on a voyage of disbelief and that he found it difficult to believe that the claim was true, and then suddenly Mr. President remembered that there was DPR, and then he admitted that the DPR should have been used. Do you think he was distracted?
You know, the problem, you know, after the interview, what I observed again from very close quarters was that he may have been overwhelmed with this issue of the abduction of the girls, sincerely.
I see.
So when the question of the price, the petroleum product price was, I mean, it was as if it was not possible in this country. There was nothing like that, and it sounded genuine.
What time of the day was the interview? Was it morning or evening?
It was in the evening. It was live.
So no, I know it was live. Okay, it was live. Yeah, so he was probably tired. You know, he was probably tired too. He must have been going through meetings. And
yeah, sure, he was going through meetings, but it didn't look like somebody who was tired because he was still able to sound coherent while responding to some questions. And even after the interview, he didn't go to bed immediately.
How do you know?
And we left him. No, because we had dinner. After the interview, we had dinner. And that's when I talked about people...
No, I'm coming to the dinner. That's you're going to give us a menu for that dinner. Then, okay, so you also talked about the national conference, which you and I have now spoken about. You said you have been planning. Now, there's a part of your article towards the end that says reality check. And then you said that at the end of the 2-hour session, the staff and a few friends were all smiles and they were saying, Mr. President, well done. Oh, that was great. And everybody kept saying that was great. But you felt that it wasn't great.
Yeah, that's the truth. I felt it wasn't great. But then again, when some people now said, you know, he's been improving with every media chat, that this...
Haven't you watched the previous ones?
Yeah, that was when I now said, okay, if it was based on his own performance in past media chats, saying that was great, then they were in order.
Yeah, because you're saying here that, well, this guy's referring to the same media chat that I just ended, a chat that saw Mr. President avoiding some questions and instead launching into a series of expeditions. You know, but then you now added that this was supposed to be one of his best performances. Okay, so from there, after the interview, you now got to the dinner. Now the dinner was held where?
In the residence. We just took a walk.
In his private residence?
Yeah, we just took a walk from where they recorded.
And it was one long table, I assume?
Well, it depends on long can be relative in this.
I mean, it could accommodate about how many people? Just take us in 14, there. Let's have an idea.
14, 16.
But was it long? And then he sat at the head.
He sat at the head. Yes, he sat at the head.
Yes.
One thing I found very funny was just trying to move the chair, which I wrote.
You wrote the chair was heavy. What was it made of?
I don't know. One of the other guests too said, "This is very, very heavy." I said, "Yes, it's heavy. This is heavy."
Who were those who were at the dining table?
I think it will not be fair to give that out, but at least I mentioned some names that statutorily were there. Information Minister,
the Vice President,
Media Advisor, Vice President, Chief of Staff.
And what were they? Were they like all these ministers and Ruben Abati and all of them? Were they sitting at a table with you, or they were sitting?
No, we were all together. The same dining table.
Dining table. You all took. Was it a buffet?
No, the meals were brought by the waiters, and then
the president's own too.
Yeah, sure. It was it was natural. It was just like any other dining. There was nothing special.
Was his own food different from yours?
No, it was the same, from the same plate. The soup.
Everything was from the same place.
Yeah.
So nobody came at least to come and test the food to see if it was poisoned or anything.
No.
People have all kinds of vivid.
Yeah, there's this myth around. Yeah.
Yes. And then you said that this is let me quote you. Sorry, we have a caller. Okay, let's just take that call. Good afternoon, sir. This is the Discourse. Who's calling, please?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jide. My name is Kelvin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kelvin. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your guests.
Yes.
The area that I wanted to even talk about,
yes,
the area you're talking about now, the area that we were at the dinner having the lunch or the dinner.
It was dinner?
Yeah, dinner, yes.
The food you eat in the evening is dinner?
Yeah,
the one you eat in the hot sun is lunch?
Lunch, yeah.
I know, I'm joking with you.
What got me very worried,
yes,
is where I have been talking about very long time ago, where he said the table was filled with jesters.
Yeah, he said it here, yes.
I read that portion, I was very worried. I have been saying for a very long time that when I see Dr. Ruben speak, I hear sacrifice speaking. When I see Dr. Ruben speak, I hear an intelligent, dishonest man speaking.
You can't call him dishonest because he's not. But just go on. What I'm trying
to elaborate is simple. The president is full of sacrifice. That is just what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And the area is better we recognize this and let the president know about it. This cost number for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now you said here before you answer that question, you said something that it was a table full of justice. You said here, but Jonathan's friends and close aides are the guiltiest of the lot. They appear to have ring-fenced the man from reality. Those who would have been able to offer good counsel and meaningfully contribute for the success of his administration are either kept at bay or do not enjoy quality time to strategic and serious thinking.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, I still stand by that because, you see, there is no way. And it also boils down to your person.
Yes.
Your person. If you mean well and you are seen to be doing well,
yes,
people would appreciate what you are doing. But when you have a station where people around throw loyalty into everything that you try to say or you try to do.
During the dinner, what was the discussion about?
Sincerely, it tried to expatiate on some of the things he had said on air. About the abduction and some things that had happened. And I had also picked up some information from some people too as we walked along the corridor to get to that place. And that was when I now appreciated his own challenges too, on why he was really passionately appealing to the parents to help with information.
You got a sense that even he himself wasn't too confident in the information that he had gotten.
Of course, that's why he said he didn't know where those students...
Very good question.
That's why he said he didn't know where those students were at that time.
You know that there is this belief for those of us on the outside that up to a particular point, he didn't even believe those girls were missing. Did you get a sense of that?
Some people did not believe that those girls were abducted. That is the truth.
Within that circle?
In a way, yes. Some people were still... And you won't blame them. Because when you have the principal of a school,
yes,
the DPO of the police station in that particular area,
yes,
the guard for the school,
yes,
and the commissioner for education,
yes,
giving you 4 different versions of the same thing. So that will cast some doubt. But that should not in any way detract from the responsibility of leadership to try and seek more information.
Do you think that would have been one of the reasons why he was, like all of us now say, slow to react?
I suspect so, yes. I suspect strongly so.
Was his wife at the dinner?
No, she wasn't. I was looking forward to meeting her, but she wasn't.
You've never met her?
No, I've never met her.
Ah, okay.
But I've had a brush with her.
You had a brush with her? What was it?
No, by some of her aides. That's how, if we start that, yeah, we won't finish it.
Oh, it's about the story. It was about the story that you wrote.
No, it's another thing entirely. Some overzealous aides.
Really?
You know, at times, the reality check leaders must seek to engage almost always. Is knowing what happens out there. Because the leader is supposed to be for the people out there, not just for those around you in the immediate office. But if you rely on them alone, you would not get...
The president's friends that you saw with him, did they look like business people? Or did they look like childhood friends that he had played with in the Tokyo or was in university with?
I think one or two of them would have been people he had maybe known much earlier, even before.
But the rest were business people.
You know,
from their men, or they needed one favor or the other.
I think they were just around there, and the aides too were just around him there. Typical, you see him moving around, he won't move alone. People would always meet around him and...
Did they allow you to like have a one-on-one with him for 2-3 minutes? Was there any opportunity for you to whisper one or two things to him
after the interview?
Yes.
No, that did not.
No.
They
surrounded him.
They didn't. No, they didn't. It was free.
Okay.
Because he had some meetings he had to attend to immediately after the interview.
Okay.
So when we're now going to the dinner area, we sat down and it was free for everybody to ask. If I wanted to ask some question, I would have asked. But
it would have meant that you would be asking publicly.
Yes.
And then those, you know, I have a fair idea of I've been close to some of these things before, and believe you me, I mean, even I wouldn't have asked a question in the midst of those people, because they'll run you down both when you're there and when you leave. They bring all kinds of things that, you know. It's the story of Nigerian leadership, really. And it takes a very strong leader to mind the kind of people that he surrounds himself with. The kind of stories they will give him, you know. The kind of stories they will give him, you'll be amazed at. All right, we have a caller. Slide. No, sorry. Slide is in my head today. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's Sunday. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Who's calling, please?
Good afternoon, Jimmy.
Please, can you bring the your radio? Can you turn it down? We have an echo here.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Who's calling, please?
Okay. This is Bridget from Ogun State.
From Ogun State. Ah, this is nice. How are you? How is Amosun? I hope you're enjoying the first flyover that you have in Ogun State. You celebrated it some time ago. In 2014, you're having the first flyover. In 2014, you have the first flyover. You closed down the state to celebrate it. Small London. Because of one flyover. Okay, what's your reaction?
I want to react to what the last caller said, but that the project is 400 by sacrifice.
Yes.
Yes, it's a capital, but I want every Nigerian to know that the president will look dumb, you know, like some people think he is, but I see a gentleman. I see a God-fearing man.
Yes.
I see a responsible man in him. He knows what he's doing. He has been in government for a long time. He is his family, he is his father, he's a family man, he's a father. He knows what he's doing. Boko is beyond him. He is essentially. But by the grace of God, God will see all of us too.
Thank you very much, madam. Now you can go back to the flower and take some fresh air. Okay, that's a joke. Let me see. Now we have some tweets. Somebody says diversionary concept in the government, but it's the stellar BMW saga, later missing money, then higher plane, now Chibok girls. I think it's talking about all the things, the challenges we've had. Another person says you can't give what you don't have. Leadership takes a long time to master. He who good luck bump into power can't give it. I'm not going to be reading shorthand things. I can't decipher some of these things. I'm not going to read that one because I can't decipher it. It says, okay, we have some SMSs. I watched the media chat from the beginning to the end. I was disappointed by the quality of the questions. The response of the president was also not deep. For example, is the explanation on power and use of hiding of aircraft by NNPC were nothing but shallow. Then there's another one here that says, do please tell Mr. Ajani that in sending in questions before an event and restricting one to those questions is gagging. If the mien of a person does not change when their office changes, is a clear sign of a person who has not stepped into the role of one who does not know how to do so. Okay, and then there's another question here for you. It says, before they were allowed to ask questions, apart from those they are sent in, how long before the event did they send in their questions? And this one, I'm not sure you are going to like this, but I still have to read it. It says, you're ready for it. Should I tie you to the chair with the safety belt? It says, Jimmy, as the editor of Vanguard, the editor of Sunday Vanguard, I think this guy should have resigned his post honorably when the paper copied and pasted a false Boko Haram US Army picture. Well, you are not the editor, so you can't hold you responsible for that. I'm sure that was the...
But we did the honorable...
And they've apologized.
You're not
going to set yourselves on fire because of that.
Within 24 hours,
you apologize. We do make mistakes in this job. I mean, these things do happen. So, you've heard some reactions. What is your...
First, about gagging. There was nothing... We sent in the question a couple of hours before the interview.
Oh, just asked before.
Yeah. You could have asked anything you wanted to ask on air. Nobody would have stopped you because nobody was close. The people who sat there were 10, 12 meters away from where we sat, and nobody would have, because it was a live program.
They wouldn't have been able to stop you.
Of course. But you also have to be aware of the fact that if you think you are trying to show courage and you try embarrassing the president, you might end up embarrassing yourself.
Yeah.
Because Nigerians are watching, and he still remains our president and commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
So you have to be decorous.
Yes, we shouldn't remember that. You know, sometimes you do find that a lot of people on the outside don't know that we are guided by certain principles.
Exactly. Just like you called something.
Just like the guy who called in. You don't just go making, there are ways that these things are done. So you never met the wife, but you were looking forward to meeting her.
I thought I would.
What's your take on her own reaction to this Chibok thing?
It was needless. She fueled the embarrassment the more. That's the truth.
Yes,
she didn't need to do some of the things she did.
I think that what her role as the first lady would have been to go to Borno and try and console not condole, but try and console the women. Go there with psychiatrists, go with some medical doctors, psychiatrists, make sure that they are not traumatized. Spend a day or two there,
Even if she had gone to meet them at Eagle Square when they first came into Abuja,
yes,
and she had granted them audience there, that would have been more honorable. People would have bought into that type of sympathy.
Yes.
Much more than what people, even if she was sincere in crying, most people found it difficult to believe that was...
No, what was the interpretation of the crying, that the way most of us interpret that she was crying that her husband had been wrongly accused. We get a sense that she believed at that point that the girls were not missing.
That was what she believed.
That's what we believed that she believed.
But what she believed is what she believed, so it would be difficult.
What do you think? Okay, you were in the corridors.
I just felt she didn't need to.
You got to the corridors and the dining room of power. So, what do you think that she believed?
What she believed is what she believed, and that's I want to live at that.
You want to live that?
But you sincerely, I'd met the late Yaradua before.
Yes.
I'd met the former President Obasanjo on about 2-3 occasions, and even interviewed him.
Yes.
And there's a difference.
Tell me the difference.
When you meet a man of power,
yes,
you feel it there, and even the people around him, they know they are.
He's in control.
Exactly. And that also adds to
that. That was for Obasanjo, for Yaradua,
for Obasanjo.
Yes,
for Obasanjo, because I spent more time with Obasanjo.
Okay.
Than with Yaradua. So
you had the sense that Obasanjo was more in charge of his environment.
Exactly, more in charge. But unfortunately for Nigeria too, here is a gentleman now, whom if he sincerely deploys his attitude to life, to governance, you will now have somebody who means well and should do well. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. In Obasanjo's case, you had a very strong leader who could bulldoze his way through certain strictures and get things done. But unfortunately, decided to get things done in a manner that were very, very self-serving. And that's why we have ended up with this type of situation. But if you had allowed the transition...
Why you say this kind of situation?
Yes.
Are you holding Obasanjo responsible for...
Most people would hold him responsible for what we have today, because he stopped people who wanted to contest in 2007 from contesting. He single-handedly picked late Yaradua for us. He single-handedly picked President Goodluck Jonathan now as running mate to Yar'Adua. And he was one of those who started...
So you think he shouldn't have done so?
He didn't need to. He shouldn't have. He didn't need to.
So by implication, you're thinking that if he didn't do so, do you think we would have had a better presidency?
I want to believe so, yes.
So you're worried about this one that we have now?
Yes, because in all honesty, if you had asked our president, Goodluck Jonathan, today, if you had asked him in 2007, after the primaries in Abuja, when Yar'Adua emerged, that, look, would you want to stay as governorship candidate of PDP for Bayelsa State, or would you want something else to come your way? I want to believe he would have preferred, let me just be governor.
No, he's that kind of person.
Yes.
He doesn't want...
yes.
Or like they say in Yoruba, Kulagbaja.
Well, yes, if you can interpret that to your listeners.
Kulagbaja means that he's not... We have another caller. Phones have been ringing all day. Hello, good afternoon, sir. Oh, man. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is the Discourse. Who's calling, please?
My name is Fono.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ono. You have just 2 minutes to quickly make your comment.
Actually, if I tell you I'm disappointed, it will be understood.
Disappointed at what?
Because I find it hard to believe that the journalists that interviewed the president were not monetized after the interview.
Why do you find it hard to believe? He says they were not monetized.
Because generally, the citizens of Nigeria, we know before this time that journalists were compromised after interviewing the president of Edo State.
How do you know? Have you been a journalist before? Have you been there?
That's what I'm saying. This by words that come out, that rumors later after they left power. So when this gentleman is saying this now, I'm saying, so you mean the journalists will walk into Aso Rock and walk out and they will cover?
Why not? Why? It's just gone there to do his job.
It means that they are getting somewhere in this country.
Exactly.
You see, so what I'm saying, and again, I want to give him kudos for finding courage to put his questions to the president. I watched the interview from the beginning to the end. And all of the interviewers, they gave the president the respect as the president of the country. It's not they would have taken him to the cleanup. When I say cleanup in quotes, it would have embarrassed him.
Okay, sir. We are definitely running out of time. But let me quickly make a comment, because the discourse here is not a question and answer thing; it's a discussion thing. Surely, I'm not making any defense for anybody. But have you read this article that he wrote? Okay. You can read it. You can go to the Vanguard website. It's there, or it's on my blog, JIMIDISU.com. You can go and read it. If you read it, you will know this can never be written by somebody who has been compromised. I think my judgment, I can bet my whatever on it. If you read this article that has brought this gentleman to the studio, you will know that. Go read it first before you make it.
I agree with what I'm saying, that we are making progress, we are moving forward. I'm happy for that.
Okay, all right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Well, Jide, time is going. We just have about 2 more minutes. Now, the final question, like they say, who wants to be a millionaire? Final question. You've used all your 50-50. You've used phone a friend and everything. Final question. Do you think that President Jonathan should run in 2015?
What I think is irrelevant in this.
I know it's irrelevant. Wait, calm down. You won't get away with that.
The Constitution is clear.
I'm not talking of the Constitution, Jide.
Okay.
With the summary of what you have seen, do you think that, of course, he has the right to run?
Let me answer the question this way.
Okay.
He will seek the election.
Oh, he will run.
He would seek. He's a Nigerian. He will seek re-election.
Yes. Okay. Do you think there is a need for us to have a change of guard as a country now in the leadership?
Yes, things could get better.
If we have a change of guard.
Yes, things could get better.
If we don't have a change of guard, do you think they will get better?
Yeah, things could Things could still get better if the paradigm shifts.
If the paradigm shifts.
If it shifts, things will get better. What does it? Nigerians are people of modest desires. We just want our water, we want delights, we want peace, we want comfort. But
surely, the 6 years you've been in the media, you're an editor, we must be able to point to 2, 3, 4 things that Jonathan has done in the 6 years of his being president, don't you think?
To be fair,
some
things you can also point at that, okay, maybe some roads in some parts have been fixed, maybe some things have been put in place. By the time they fully germinate and they begin to grow, would have.
Well, you see, unfortunately, we cannot judge a president by roads and whatever. You judge a president by policy and by implementation.
That's tragedy of our circumstance.
No, not physical things. Every time you say
that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy of our
these
circumstance.
are things that are a given. The truth is, how have your people been faring during your tenure? You understand? That's the major. That's, to put it in the simplest form, is has the living standards of your people, has it improved or deteriorated?
No, you can't say it has improved. That's why
has it deteriorated?
That's why I also asked the question that, look,
okay,
those who fought for him to become acting president when he was being messed up by the Yar'Adua people.
Yes.
Now, is it that they've totally isolated themselves from him, or that they are not counseling him properly, or that they can't have access to him again?
Okay, but final answer, let me ask you, do you think our president has been hijacked?
Every president is hijacked.
I like you today,
but
I can match you for that.
I know, but every president. Let me use the word hijackable.
So in a way, you if I left this place and I said Jide said that it appears as if this man has been hijacked, I'll be right.
You don't be far from the truth. It's for him to rest power back to where it belongs.
Okay, Jide. I thank you very much for coming. Once again, let me read. I put your whatever on my blog, and I'm going to read what I said. I said, well done, Jide. Beautiful piece. Now we know what you have always felt is true. A president may have been held captive. That's what I wrote as my comment on my blog. So I'd like to thank you very much. It takes a very, very brave journalist to do what you have done, because the consequences will run for a long time, I can assure you. There's going to be a lot of hot air. By the way, have they called you? Has anybody called you? Has anybody been angry with you for what you have written?
Interestingly, nobody has been angry with me. I've just been.
That makes it even worse. When they're not talking, it makes it worse. So,
but I think they were having some thoughts about what.
Yes, and yes, the people.
And it was actually written not to derogate the. No, it was.
Yes, I mean it was written decently. Yes,
there's a crisis that needs to be attended.
That needs to be attended.
That's just.
Unfortunately, I don't know if the president himself will be allowed to read it.
We have written something like that before about the problem of a gentleman president.
Did you see it?
No, some governors called me and they commended it, and they said they will recommend it for him to read. That was sometime last year.
Because these things can.
That was sometime last year.
He's not going to be going out there to buy paper anyway. We've taken some of our productive time. Thank you very much, Jide, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
At the shortest notice, whatever. And once again, our condolences go to Uncle Sam. He's the father of us all Vanguard. We're all Vanguard people. So next week, I think we'll now bring in Aisha. She's a dermatologist, and we'll talk about bleaching and skin problems and some of these other things. I used to take a break from last week. We had Alabi Sama, and this week, oh yeah, you missed that one. Yes, this is going to be on. Last week would have been faster, but it's going to be on my blog. The video of it will be on my blog. I think Tuesday at the latest. You won't believe it takes sometimes close to 24 hours for me to upload this thing on YouTube before I can now put it. So latest by Tuesday it will be up. Now. You can follow me at Twitter, on Twitter at JIMI DISU. So you can get an update, and then go to my blog, jimidisu.com, and register your email address so I can send you mails and stuff like that. Okay, it's been nice having you, Lawrence. Thank you very much. Flo, thank you very much. And Madam Colleague, thank you very much for coming in. And Jide, one more time, I thank you very, very much. So go out there and have a lovely week. Remember, from Monday, front page news, every day, 7 o'clock. We'll all be there, God willing. Okay, go out there and have a lovely day. Bye.
Classic FM 97.